Yeah, hi. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I hope you guys can hear me, see my screen. All good on that front. If yes, then we can start. I'm glad to see you all. Am I audible? All right, all right. Thank you so much, Fairuz. Thank you very much. All right, that's awesome. Great, great, great. We have people from Saudi as well. So welcome everyone. Let me introduce myself. Today we are going to discuss on the costing techniques that are used in practice. We'll discuss few of them, and the elaborative version will come later once you enroll yourself for the CMA course. Anyways, so we'll start off with it. I'm glad to see you all. Do not hesitate to ask any questions that you might have, and I will speak a little bit more about the CMA, the course later on, but that will come later. But today we will discuss the costing techniques, some of the costing techniques that we use in practice. Different costing techniques, how they can, which industries are more relevant to a particular costing technique. So this is what our discussion will be. Again, I might not go into a lot of numerics. That is for the main sessions, but at a high level, the different costing techniques, or why do we need to understand costing, and all those things will be discussed today. So I'm glad to have you all. But before that, you would like to know me a little bit more. I am Shiv Mehta. I am a certified management accountant, a CFA charter holder, and a certified financial planner. I have over 12 years of work experience in the finance industry, out of which 10 years have been into training. I've been training I've been training candidates for CFA, CMA. I've been teaching financial modeling in the past, and there are various financial courses such as private equity courses, investment banking courses that I've taught in the past. I've also taught at various corporates, various sovereign wealth funds in the past. That's pretty much my teaching experience. About my industry experience, I have worked in various finance verticals, such as financial planning, credit research at a rating agency in India. Then I've also worked in investment banking and private equity. And my last industry job was in equity research at Deutsche Bank. And that's pretty much my experience. So I'm obviously, again, lovely to have you all. So let's start. Without any further ado, we will start now with the costing techniques. Now, understanding costing techniques. Now, before I get into the costing techniques, first, let's understand what is the importance of costing. Why do we need to do costing? Obviously, we need to figure out the cost per unit of our products that we are planning to sell. But why do we need to know them? Well, multiple reasons. One of them is, understand, why I want to know the cost of unit is there is a why question. And the other question is, when do I need to know the cost per unit? Now, the cost per unit, first I'll answer when. I need to know the cost per unit at the start of the year. Before I actually start my year, I need to know at what cost am I going to produce my products. Now, why do I need to know that? Firstly, I would like to know my cost of the product so that I know how much financing will I require in the future. So only when I know what is my cost per unit and the number of units that I'm going to sell or produce for that matter, I will then be able to figure out how much financing I may require in the future. That's one of the reasons. The other reason to know the cost per unit at the start of the year is to make the pricing decisions. How should I price my product? I can't just randomly select that, hey, this is the product I'm selling, I'm going to sell it at $10. If I do that and the cost comes out to be a slightly higher, then what will happen? I will end up making losses. Or I can't select my prices to be very, very low. Again, I mean, that will again lead to I'm making some losses. Okay, so prices cannot be very, very high. It cannot be very, very low as well. If it's very, very high, you might end up making profits, but then you might not be able to sell your products because the demand for your products will be very, very low. So if you do not do proper costing, if you do not figure out your cost per unit accurately, then what will happen? You might end up making losses. You might not be able to sell your product. So inaccurate pricing decisions is something that can be avoided once you have employed proper costing techniques. Now, over a period of time, the costing techniques have developed. And what I will first do is I will tell you what was the traditional approach. And then later on, this traditional approach of costing was replaced by something called as ABC. Anyone who can tell me what is ABC costing technique? What is ABC here? You must have heard of it. Even if you have not heard of it, obviously I'm going to discuss it, but just a poll question. Fantastic. Most of you have got it right. Great. So ABC means activity-based costing. Fabulous, fabulous, everyone. Lovely to hear that you know about it. So the activity-based costing obviously is an improvement of traditional costing. So again, I will not hesitate to teach like I teach in the class over here. So let me go to my whiteboard, and first let me at a high level tell you these two costing approaches. Now, see, when you cost your product, when you are trying to figure out the cost of your product, the main ingredients over there are, firstly, there is direct material. So that is the raw materials that you require to produce your product. Then there is labor, direct labor. Now, this is relatively easy to figure out for a particular product. Let's say a particular company has multiple products. You will be able to figure out how much which labor is working on which product, and then how much we are paying to them, or what will be the raw material cost. It's still determinable. But when you have multiple products, let me show you. There is another cost which is called as overhead costs. Let's say supervisor cost. Supervisor cost is like an overhead cost. Okay, now here let's understand these costing approaches. Firstly, let me start with traditional costing. So this was the old way of doing things, traditional costing, although it's still relevant for certain companies. We still do that, we still use it, but then how do we use it? I will show you. So let's say there is a supervisor salary that we are paying $100. Okay, or this is just general, all the overhead costs, property taxes, supervisor salary, quality control, the quality inspector salary, and everything is this $100. And this is the overhead cost. Now, what can you do with this overhead cost? How can you think of it this way? Let's say these costs are allocated to two different products that the company is producing. Let's say there is product A, then there is product B. Okay, now the traditional way of doing things is, the most traditional way is doing it on the basis of, let's say, number of units. So how do we think of it this way? How do we allocate this $100 between product A and product B is what we are trying to discuss. So the traditional approach is, you could either do it on the basis of number of units, which is plausible. Think of it this way, that the number of units that I'm producing for A is 3, and the number of units that I'm producing for B is, let's say, 7. So in a nutshell, what I can say is that 70% of this $100 cost can be allocated to product B. 30% of the cost can be allocated to product A. So this is one way of doing things. The other way of doing traditionally is on the basis of machine hours. So think of it this way. I'm saying that, let's say it takes 7 hours to produce product A and 3 hours to produce product B. Now, in this case, what I would do is 30% of this cost will be allocated to product B, and 70% of this cost will be allocated to product A. Now, this is based on machine hours. Again, this is one of the ways in traditional costing. And the third way is track the labor hours that I'm spending on each of the product. Track the labor hours that I'm spending on each of the product. Now, this could be, let's say, I'm spending 5 hours on product A and 5 hours on product B. Now 50% will be allocated to product A and product B. But here, this guy, this product B manager, the manager of product B is unhappy with everything over here. So the idea over here is that this $100, what it entails, we are not concerned about that at this point in time. So see, the accuracy might be achieved, might not be achieved with the traditional costing. The idea over here is if the only plausible way was machine hours, for example, then 30% was allocated to product B, 70% was allocated to product A. The product A manager might be unhappy. He might say, hey, machine hours is okay, but why don't we just get into what this $100 entail? And when we do that, we come to something called as ABC costing, which is a more detailed version of understanding this $100. Because here you might make A unhappy, here you might make B unhappy. So let's understand. We will go by the facts. Let's understand this $100 once again. This $100 actually entailed three things. It actually entailed three things. This $100 comprised of one thing, machine cost. It comprised of machine cost. Here we are getting into this $100. It comprised of machine cost of, let's say, $10. It comprised of setup cost. It comprised of setup cost of, let's say, $40. So here we have to basically prepare our machines to produce product A and B. And how many times are we doing it? Obviously, the more number of times we do it, the more cost it will be. Then the last thing is, let's say, for example, it also includes quality inspection. That how many times did we have to, for example, or this cost is, let's say, $50, but here we are tracking, for example, the number of inspections that we do. So the idea over here is, here we will track, let's say, number of machine hours. Now here, this is relevant now. Here, this is relevant. This is more plausible way of doing it. So the machine hours that B requires is 3. A requires is 7. So which means on the basis of machine hours, yes, we can allocate $3 out of this $10 to B, $7 to A. Okay, now earlier we were doing machine hours and we were using the whole $100 of cost. But now we are just looking at the machine cost and then we are applying the machine hours to it. Now understand, in costing, in practical scenario, what are these things called as? Now this is the overall $100. This is the overall $100. All this division is its cost pool. Cost pool of $100 represent these three things. And then we are saying that each of this cost, there is a particular cost driver. And here the machine cost, the driver is number of machine hours. Then we can say that for setup cost, we can look at the number of setups. And then we can figure out how many setups have we done. For example, we can say for B, we have done, let's say, 80 setups. For A, we have done 20 setups. Then what we will do is we will allocate, for example, out of this $40, 20% of it, which is $8, will be allocated to B, or rather, it will be allocated to A. So this is A, this is B. And B, we will allocate the remaining $32. Getting it? So this is how we actually get into it, and then we divide it between A and B. And similarly, the cost driver could be here for quality inspection, could be number of quality checks, number of quality checks. So this is how, what we are trying to do is for these $100, we are trying to figure out or trying to divide it between activities. And then we are looking at the drivers which are driving these activities. So this is called as activity-based costing. So Fahad, over here, the $100, you are asking this stage, this one. Okay, so here what we are trying to do is we are just getting into that $100, figuring out what are we doing in this, what this $100 entail. It entails these three things: machine cost, setup cost, quality inspection. And then we figured out the overall cost. And then we said the machine cost is driven by number of machine hours. So the more machine hours a particular product is using, more of that $10 will be allocated to that product versus the other product. Similarly, the setup cost, the driving factor is number of setup costs, the number of setups rather. If B requires more number of setups every time we have to produce product B, then we will allocate more cost to that. So this is based on activity, the activity that we are doing within that $100. Once we divide those costs, we figure out what are we actually doing, what are we doing so that there is this cost particularly. Are you with me, everyone? So obviously this is very, very complex in nature. If you are a large organization and you are using this product, you are using this costing technique, obviously this is more complex in nature versus just allocating on the basis of machine hours, for example. But this is more accurate. So this gives you, ABC costing gives you more accuracy, but it takes a lot of time to actually set up this costing system. Yeah, so I will now tell you where do we use activity-based costing and where can we use traditional costing. Any questions till now? All good? So here, come back to the slide. So here, firms with high product diversity and complexity is where we will use the activity-based costing. Now, for example, restaurant business. So in a restaurant business, there's a huge list of menu that restaurants have, right? There is a huge amount of product diversity. So there, what I will use is for the overhead costs, I'm going to use the activity-based costing. So the different activities that people are performing and which is relevant to a particular product, on the basis of that, I'm going to allocate the overhead cost to those products. Whereas where do you use traditional costing is where the firms have simple standard products. There are no custom orders. You're producing, let's say you are only a table manufacturer producing similar kind of table. You will end up using traditional costing method. Right. So here there are fewer cost drivers. Here there are multiple cost drivers based on activities, or it could be even volume based. Here there are usually volume based or machine hours or labor hours for that matter. Okay, so this is a high level idea between traditional costing and activity based costing. So again, in both the costing methods, we are allocating overheads. Here we are allocating overheads to the departments and then from departments to the products. Here we are assigning overhead to activities and then from activities to the products and services, which is what we performed just now. Right. So this is the first difference which I wanted to allude to today. Okay, so this is traditional costing method and activity-based costing. I want to move on from this traditional based costing to activity-based costing to another type. The other type is variable costing versus absorption costing. Variable costing versus absorption costing. And let's understand the key difference between the two. Now understand, when you talk about absorption costing and variable costing, what are we actually doing? Well, absorption costing at a high level is used for financial reporting. That is for external purposes. Let me write it. This is used for external financial reporting. And the variable costing for our products is used for insider or for internal purposes. Now understand, before I actually move on to these costing methods, if I talk about our cost, any firms, any manufacturing firms, so here the whole discussion is about manufacturing firms. So the whole manufacturing process, we have different types of cost. One is direct material, the raw material costs. Let's say for a particular product, this is $5. This is $5. Then there is direct labor cost. That is, let's say, $4. Then we have some variable manufacturing overhead costs. So variable manufacturing overhead costs. This could include your indirect materials, indirect labor, and so on and so forth. So let's say that is $3 per unit. $3 per unit. Then there is fixed manufacturing overhead, like your supervisor salary, property taxes that you might have to pay on your factory or building, or depreciation for that matter on your factory. So that cost is ideally fixed. It does not change with the units. But again, what we do is on the basis of our capacity, we calculate the manufacturing fixed overhead per unit. So that is $2, right? Then what we'll see is there will be some variable selling and administrative expenses. That will be, let's say, $6, and fixed selling administrative expenses is $7. Now, I have a question over here before I move on to and explain the absorption costing and variable costing. The question is CMA more about costing? It's not all about costing, Imran. It is part of the management accounting role. So you need to understand your cost, and then a management accountant will help you with not only, so first he needs to understand the costing methods, understand the costs. Obviously, on the basis of that, he will be able to build budgets. He'll be able to make some key decisions for the management. He will then be able to figure out who is a good manager, who is a bad manager, based on which the management can do, or hiring or giving an increment to a manager decision. So all of that is something that a management accountant does. So it's a broader role. It's not only costing. So today, just the webinar theme is costing methods, but let me allude to the fact that costing is one of the key areas of a management accountant, but there are other key areas as well. Hope I answered your question, Imran. We will discuss in detail what a management accountant covers. How much percentage of costing is covered? Well, it's in part one. It's around 15 to 20% of the course. But then the key concepts from here will be used at a lot of places. And for that, the coverage is around 50 to 60% across part one and part two. Are you with me? All right, fantastic. Okay, great. Let's move on and understand this. Well, let me just highlight the fact that variable costing is also called as marginal costing before I actually move on to that. Yes, fantastic. Sorry, I'm still not moving. I have some brilliant comments coming in. So Tasfiha says that, just to add, it's more about strategic decision making as an accountant inside the company, how an accountant can add value to the organization by using costing techniques, for example. Fabulous, fabulous. You have just put the words in text in a chat box. Fantastic. My words. Thank you so much, Tasfiya. All right, fantastic. Thank you very much. Yeah, so let's understand this. Let's understand. Fabulous, fabulous. I love that you understand management accounting role. Yes, it's called as marginal costing. And yes, that's what it's similar in nature. Yes, absolutely. It's absolutely similar. Okay, so let's understand, everyone. So here, what we have to really do is understand the product cost and what will be the period cost. Period cost is something that directly goes into the income statement. It's not part of the product cost. Product cost basically means the cost of production for our product. Now, when you talk about absorption costing, which is what we use in external financial reporting. So if you ever go over an income statement of a particular company, if you ever go with an income, if you ever read the income statement, which is for external financial reporting, and you try to figure out what is the product cost, which is explained in the COGS as well, cost of goods sold in an income statement. Well, for a particular product, these are the four costs which are included over here. So we include direct material, direct labor, variable manufacturing overhead, and fixed manufacturing overhead. Remember, fixed manufacturing overhead is based on the production that I'm going to do in the particular year. COGS is, however, based on the number of units that have been sold. So obviously there will be differences between absorption costing and variable costing. The key difference will be over here. Fixed manufacturing overhead is included in the product cost, but it is included in the period cost. So period cost obviously includes selling and administrative in both the cases. Product cost in marginal costing includes only these three. Only these three: direct material, direct labor, and variable manufacturing overhead. The fixed is considered fixed. It's considered to be period cost because that's not going to change based on the number of units that you've sold or number of units that you've produced, for that matter. So the key difference that comes over here is this: the fixed manufacturing overhead is included in absorption costing, it's included in the product cost, whereas it's excluded from the product cost. Obviously, in the marginal costing or variable costing, the cost of producing will be slightly lower, but then it has severe ramification. It has severe implications on your cost, the cost of goods sold, for that matter. Right. So again, more of this will be discussed in a CMA later on. But at a high level, the differences that you will see in the operating income, would be this. The differences will be that the operating income under financial reporting will be greater by this factor. So it will be the production minus sales. Okay, so how much you have produced and how much you have sold, multiplied by this fixed overhead per unit that we have ascertained. So this is OI under FR. So if this is a plus sign, the OI under FR will be higher as compared to variable costing. FR means absorption costing. OI under absorption costing will be higher by this factor. So if you have decided you will produce, let's say, 156 units and you have sold 150 units and your fixed overhead per unit is 500, then what you will see is that under your FR financial reporting, the operating income will be higher by $3,000 as compared to variable costing. Now, how it is done, more of this will be discussed later on once we get into the details of all these costing techniques. But at a high level, I just wanted to lay out a key differences between the absorption costing and variable costing. This is what we generally see when we are looking at the company's annual report. So this is what we generally look at. They follow absorption costing for that. Lastly, I also want to cover a couple of more costing techniques. One of them is job order costing, and the other one is process costing. Okay, so these are a couple of costing techniques that I want to cover. Now, at a high level, what do you mean by job order costing? Well, it is a costing method which is being used by companies that manufacture a different number of different products, I would say. It's used by both manufacturing as well as service companies. Okay, and here primarily those companies which receive orders for customized products and services. Okay, so there will be some manufacturing companies, there will be some service companies, and they all are selling customized products and services. Those companies will be using something called as job order costing. Now, what is job order costing? Let's just understand. So here, let me just show you. So here in job order costing, what you generally see is in job order, you receive different orders, customized orders. And these job orders are for, as I said, unique products that I might be selling. Example, let's say a clothing company. A clothing company that has received a specific order for a specific size, specific color, specific design. So that is a job that they have to perform. So each unique product is a job order, is a job. And here what we do is we build the cost sheet, the job cost sheet. And for each job, what we do is we lay down different activities that we will perform and their different dollar amounts that we will perform. And that's their cost. Here, there is no bulk orders primarily, no bulk orders. It's just for a particular job, you have received an order and you are going to perform that job, and that's the end of it. Okay, so this is another example would be wedding invitations or flyer, which are again customized for a printing shop, or it could also include aircraft companies. They all receive customized order from different airlines. So that will be a job for them. They will track the job cost sheet, and that's how they will be able to figure out for this particular order what has been the cost. So this is all about the job order costing. So this is what we do: identify the job, set up the job cost sheet, trace the direct cost for the job, allocate indirect cost to the job as well, like supervisor salary, how much hours he has spent on that, for example, on that job. On the basis of that, we can allocate those overhead costs over here, and then add all the costs to determine the total cost of the job. So this is the job order costing. This is the job order costing. And this is where it is used. It's used for industries which are selling customized products and services. Examples I've already given you: clothing manufacturing company or aircraft manufacturing companies like Boeing and Airbus. And then there could be even us, training companies. If you've gotten any, for example, projects from a particular corporate, then we can do job order costing, because each project over here for us will be different, because we are selling something different. We are giving a different kind of a course. We are then different kind of trainers will go, their cost will be different, and so on and so forth. For that matter, material cost might be different. So here, wherever we are selling customized products and services, that's where you use job order costing. So that's about job order costing. Now I'm going to speak about process order costing. Now, in process order costing, process costing, very important product costing method for especially manufacturing companies that produce bulk products, that mass produce the large volume of very important similar products. So here you need large number of identical and homogeneous products. So this is process costing is used whenever you are producing homogeneous products. An example of that would be, let's say, oil refining company. They all produce similar products. If you look at these oil refining companies, they all are refining crude oil. Crude oil isn't different. They are going to sell similar crude oil for each of their customers. Similarly, textiles to a certain extent, where you produce fabrics, for example, cement manufacturers, paint manufacturers, and so on and so forth. They are all producing similar products. But the key over here is that here in process costing, if you look at the way we produce, let's say, textiles, right? There are different processes that a particular cloth goes through. There is a weaving unit, there is a coloring unit, there is a designing unit. So what are these? These are different processes. So there is process 1, then the process 1, from here the product goes to process 2, and then it goes to process 3 over here. So that's what we do. Now here, there is a very important concept. There is a very important concept of equivalent units. To track the cost per unit, let's say for one cloth. Now, how much cost will be allocated to P1? How much cost will be allocated to P2, P3? We need to understand it in a way that is called as equivalent units. So I will go to the next slide. Now, what is the basic concept of equivalent unit? And then I will go back. The idea over here is that if I produce half a unit, let's say, think of it this way. I'm not producing the full cloth or full shirt. I am producing, let's say, two half shirts. Two half shirts is equivalent to one full shirt. And this is what we follow in accounting, although this is not practically related. You can't wear two half shirts. You need one full shirt to wear. But in accounting, the way we have to track the cost is that two half shirts or two half cups is considered to be one full cup. And here there is a very, very important idea. Now think of a particular table manufacturing company that is producing similar homogeneous products. Think of it this way. There is, let's say, a process one, and then there is process two. Now in process one, what you end up doing is, so see, understand, there are, let's say, 400 tables that we are manufacturing. 400 tables will go through P1 and 400 tables will go through P2. Now think of it this way, that with P1, what has happened is you have actually passed on to P2. Think of it this way, 400 tables which are 60% complete, And then process two will be, you will again have 400 tables, which will now be 40% complete, and that will finish the product. But now from process one perspective, 60% of 400, the equivalent units will be 60% of 400 will be 240 tables. And the cost will be allocated on this 240 tables to P1, process one. And then the remaining 160, 40% of 400 is 160 tables. 160 tables. The cost of 160 tables will be allocated to process two. So this is the concept of equivalent units. So each batch has a standard cost sheet. So this is what we are saying. P1 has a separate cost sheet. P2 has a separate cost sheet. 240 multiplied by the cost of this whole process will be the cost for this process one. And then whatever cost is for process two, that will be allocated to 160 tables. And that will give us the total cost of the product. Everyone, are you getting it? So process order costing. So this is the second costing technique that I wanted to cover today. So these are some of the costing techniques. Now, just to summarize which costing technique will be used where, let me just go back to my whiteboard just to summarize it. Now, understand, if you want to track the cost per unit, practical scenario is that if you are selling exclusive products, then you will end up using job order costing. And if you are selling homogeneous products, then you will end up using the process order costing. Okay, so this is what I wanted to cover as far as costing is concerned. Any questions, anyone? Please let me know. I'll be happy to address them. So more of costing will be covered in the CMA course later on, obviously. So these are some of the costing techniques, Imran, which I've covered: job order costing, process order costing, where to use them, which industries use them practically. There are obviously more costing techniques, which we will cover later on in the main course. But this is at a high level. It's a very exciting topic. It's a very exciting topic. Well, Imran, not everything is covered over here. Management accountant does not have to become an expert cost accounting, but he needs to have the basics so that he can help the management make some important decisions. So we're not trying to make you experts in costing, but at a high level, having some knowledge will take you ahead in your roles as, for example, as a management accountant, as a financial controller, as an FP&A analyst. So it helps you over there. Are you with me? So we are not, so ICWA is, I mean, their profession is costing, right? They can't do a management accountant role. So yeah, I mean, that's an in-depth knowledge. I totally agree to that. But here we do give you knowledge of all the costing techniques. Are you with me? When do we use standard costing? Now, standard costing. Okay, don't get confused, Fahad. Okay, so the idea over here is, see, understand. ABC and traditional costing is all about allocating that overhead costs. Okay, so that is one separate thing. In ABC, you look at product diversity, like restaurants. If restaurants have product diversity, there you will use, wherever there is product diversity, you will use this. Traditional costing is for very, very simple business, simple standard products, not much difficulty. There is only one, there is a company which is producing only one product, for example, a very standardized homogeneous product. Getting it? So that is where we use traditional costing. ABC costing is when you have multiple products. There is a lot of product diversity over here. Whereas when you talk about job order costing and process order costing, here we are getting into the main industries. What technique would they use particularly? Okay, so that is just for overheads discussion, which is a major problem for that matter. Like, for example, if you talk about restaurant industry, why ABC matters over there is because 50% of the product cost is all overheads. In some of the manufacturing companies, majority of the cost is direct material or direct labor, but overheads are very less. So that's when the overheads are very less, you can end up using traditional costing, right? But when the overheads are very, very high, then you have to use more technical costing method, which is ABC. When do we use standard costing? Standard costing, my friend, is used when we actually do budgeting. So it's used for budgeting primarily. Right? Again, that is also covered in a lot of detail, Aman, in your CMA course. So let me now talk about Imran. Definitely, CWA inter candidate can definitely clear the CMA course. Definitely they can. I will open up the discussion. So let's just let me get into our solutions and the CMA, how to achieve your CMA qualification. Firstly, let me just talk about why you should choose to do CMA with us. Obviously, we are market leaders in finance training globally and the GCC region. The material that we provide you is the best in class, globally renowned GLIME material. So we will provide you it will be part of the package. Then we have flexible options. You can attend the classes from home, or you can come to our center and attend the classes face to face. So each class you have an option to do that. Then we are 6 full-time trainers, my friends. We are 6 full-time trainers. We have more than 80 plus years of experience training CMA. And because we are full-time trainers, you will continuously have 24/7, or I would not say 24, 18/7, because we sleep from 12 to 6 mostly. You will have continuous doubt clearing support on WhatsApps. You will continuously chat. You can continuously chat with us for any career guidance, any networking opportunities. We continue to do a lot of these events. We take you for bowling. We take you for golf. You can interact, network with a lot of individuals, our alumni as well. So that events will keep on happening. We make you eat a lot of food because your sessions will mostly happen on Saturday and Sunday, and food comes on Saturday and Sunday most often. So that keeps on happening. And then you have our library to access. So that's another thing. I mean, just ancillary benefits, nothing too substantial. Why you should choose CMA, why you should choose us for that. Highly customized solution. So there is a proper LMS. I will show you that LMS where you will get your recordings of each and every lecture. You will get our class notes. So the things that I wrote right now is something that will be given to you as part of the package. As in, you will see our notes. It's all downloadable. You can download it, print it, and that will help you with your studies as well. And then there is extensive exam practice through tests, quizzes, mock exams, revision sessions. So we do one mock exam at the end. We have quizzes as well. So we'll do 5 quizzes throughout your CMA journey. And then we will also end up giving you a lot of these. We will also give you a question-based day for that matter. And then there will be effective monitoring and reporting framework that you will have from us. As I said, there is flexible study options. You can choose classroom, live, online. You can choose any one of them. You can choose classroom initially and then move to online, and you can choose online and then move to classroom. It's all flexible out here. And then we obviously give you the study materials. Now, as part of the package, you will attend not 50, it's around so I will tell you the breakup over here. So you will attend 56 hours of preparation sessions, 4 hours of question-based day. Then there will be 16 hours of revision sessions. So this is prep. Then there will be question-based day. There will be revision sessions, and then 4 hours of mock sessions with you. Okay, so this is how we have broken down our course. So this is what you will get from us. Now, this is if you are, so this is prep, this is revision, and this is the question-based day. Okay, so in the question-based day, what you will do is you will do a lot of questions. You will see the trainer's way of solving the questions. This has been really the game changer for our students in the past. In revisions, we cover the whole course in a fast forward way though, but we again practice a lot of questions. And then next would be your mock. And once you get good scores in mocks, you are ready for the exam. So this is a high level. These are our list of trainers. As I said, we have 80 plus years of experience in training CMA. Well, I am the head of CMA at Kaplan Professional Middle East. I have, as I said, I've been training for more than 10 years, and other trainers are well experienced in training CMA for the past 10 years. Some people have 6 years of experience. Mr. Bilal has over 13 years of experience in training CMA candidates. So again, a good list of trainers with good experience. We bring in our knowledge from our level of expertise. You know, we have done ACCAs, we have done CPAs, we have done FCCAs, we have done CFAs. So a lot of experience. We bring it from other courses to simplify the concepts for you. Then GLIME study materials, what are you going to get? You are going to get 2,500 MCQ questions. This is more than any other material provider, more than GLIME. We used to use GLIME. We moved to GLIME because there are more questions. There are more essay-based questions. You can practice more. There is embedded mock exam as well. So one mock exam we will cover, then you have another mock exam that you will have on the GLIME platform as well. Then there will be study planners. Then there are certain diagnostic tests. Once you give that test, you will be able to know what are your weak areas, what are your strength areas. So all of that is available with your GLIME online support and the materials for that matter. Then this is our LMS. This is our own proprietary LMS. Here, as you could see, we will give you your course schedule, your course slides will be here, the Zoom links will be here. Then very important recorded videos. If you missed a lecture, if you were lost in the lecture at some point in time, you can always go back to those recordings and watch those recordings, clarify your doubts. If you have further doubts, as I said, we trainers are available for you. Then there are class notes. So the way I was writing today, these class notes, as I said, will be available to you over here. You can download your notes from here. This notes will be available like this. As I was writing, this notes will be available to you over here. Then apart from that, we not only want you to clear the CMA exam, we also want you to excel and find a relevant job or be good at your jobs as well, or upskill from jobs perspective. So we give 1 full day of complimentary finance skills training. So one of the topics we cover is financial modeling, financial storytelling. We give you an introduction to data analytics, which is hot topic and even relevant from the perspective of a CMA. Why? Because technology and analytics is a new topic in CMA, and it's a vital role of a management accountant. Then we also give you a high level idea about blockchain and crypto, again, just to keep you job ready. And plus, we also give you a leadership development training. So second day would be around CV writing, personal branding, interview skills, so that you can find your job as well. So not only you are skilled, but now you are well equipped to even find the job. And we obviously also help you out in getting internships. We also help you find placements. So again, whenever we get a job opportunity from some of the employers that we are associated with, we pass it on to you, and then we ask for your CVs. We will pass on your CVs, and hopefully things work out for you after that. So this is also there. Plus, another thing that you will benefit from joining us would be that you will get a lot of discount. So ideally, for one part, if you are not joining Kaplan, you will be spending 5,363 dirhams. Okay, but because we are platinum providers, IMA platinum providers, this will be just at a cost of 3,636, which means you are only spending 60% of the actual cost, or you can think of it in this way, that there will be 40% discount on your IMA fees. So we already planned for the CMA. Then if you're not planning, I mean, the idea is if you join us, you will get this 40% discount on the IMA fees itself. So that's the idea. Then let me also tell you about when our course starting. So we are starting on 29th of October for part 1 in Dubai, and 30th October for part 2 in Dubai. And then again, in Abu Dhabi also, we have opened a center in Abu Dhabi. We were running CFA courses in the past, but now we also run CMA courses. This is also starting on 29th of October. Now here, while you are joining the webinar, you will get a 5% discount for just joining this webinar if you enroll on the fees that you have to pay to Kaplan. And this is the fees that you pay for Kaplan. Highly recommended if you go for Prep Pro and Revision Pro, both. The fees per part is 3,937. A combo for part 1 and part 2 is 7,500. And if you just want preparation sessions, that's only 3,200. This includes the study materials. This includes your recorded class videos, one-to-one doubt clearing sessions, practice test, mock exam, and even that KPME assurance, those 2 days of skill-based trainings that you have. I'm happy to address all your questions related to costing or CMA as a whole. Please let us know. And if you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to our program advisor, Sandy, and we have Moni as well, who has given her number and her email address.
Yes, thank you, Shiv. Yes, please. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. You may feel free to reach out to me as well. I'll be more than happy to assist. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I have a question from Laksha. That what is the exam structure? So the exam structure, Laksha, is that you can give CMA part 1 or part 2 in any order. So you can give part 2 first and then part 1. Now, what you have is part of the exam. Let me just highlight over here. Great question. Let me just cover it on the whiteboard. So here, any CMA part 1 or part 2 exam, any exam is a 4-hour exam. 3-hour exam. For the first 3 hours, you will be doing 100 MCQs, multiple choice questions, where each question will have 4 options. And then the remaining 1 hour will be around 2 essay-based questions, which will have around 10 to 12 sub-parts to it. Now here you do not have to write long essay type answers. Here what you'll do is you will write like you'll answer in brief, like 3-4 lines, 5 lines at max. There'll be some calculations you will have to show your workings over there, but it is definitely achievable to be done in 1 hour. The passing score over here is 360 out of 500. And here, let me also say 375 marks is for the MCQs and 125 marks is for the essay type questions. So you need to overall score, my friend, 360 marks. So that's the overall exam. Now, about the part 1 and part 2 exam. Now, part 1 has six topics and part 2 also has 6 topics. This is more accounting related. I'm not saying all is accounting, but accounting related. This is mostly finance related, because that's what the management accountant role is. It's part accounting, part finance. The topics that you cover over here is firstly external reporting, external financial reporting. That's first topic. The second topic is planning, budgeting, and forecasting is the second topic. Then the third topic is performance measurement, where you cover your variance analysis. That is basically looking at your actual versus the budget, actual results versus the budget. The fourth topic is cost management. Here, this is where the costing techniques will come. Then you have the fifth one, internal controls, very, very high level. And then the newly added technology and analytics, the resources that you require to perform your job as a management accountant. So that is part 1. Part 2, the first topic is financial statement analysis. This is where you learn more about the ratios, how to analyze the results. First thing. The second thing is you cover a lot about corporate finance. Mostly it's all finance related over here. The third thing that you cover over here is decision analysis. This is 25% weightage, part of very, very important role of the management accountant. Here you make important decisions like, should you buy the raw materials, or should you, let's say, should you manufacture the product, or should you outsource the production? So that's a very, very important decision. A management accountant needs to know how to perform this so that he helps his management. Then second would be things like pricing decisions over here, little bit of economics out here. So that is decision analysis, very, very important work of a management accountant that is covered here. Then the fourth thing that you cover over here is risk management. So you also help your management with managing the risks. Very diverse profile, by the way. Then you also help the management make some investment decisions. That is about the long-term projects or not. Should the company do a long-term project or not? So that's where investment decisions come. Then lastly, any professional course or any professional will need to know ethics related to that profession. So that is the topic number 6 for this part 2. So I know I covered this in detail. So I hope that is what you were looking for. Laksh, that's the answer to long answer to your small question. Which is a tough exam? See, it depends. It depends. So if you have recently studied finance, you will find part 2 easy. If you are more of an accountant, if you've studied more accounting stuff of late, you will find part 1 more easier. But then once you cover each one of those parts, the second part will be easier for you because you now have the practice to give the exam, Imran. what percentage of discount you give on CMA registration and exam. So there are two fees here, Imran. Let me be very, very transparent. Two fees. One is the IMA fees. IMA is the one who conducts the CMA exam. So the IMA fees, as I gave you over here, the total fees is 5,363 per part, as in not per part. But overall, if you want to give the first part, this is what you have to spend. Then you will have to also pay additional $360 for the second exam. So all in all, if I have to say, the overall fees would be around 6,400 for that you pay to the IMA, but that gets reduced to around, this is per part. Then you will add a cost of around, let's say 1,322 over here. So overall it's 5,000, roughly 5,000. So overall on 6,400, you are only paying 5,000 dirhams to the IMA. So that is the discount from the IMA perspective. Our fees is this much, 3,337 per part. Or if you want to go for both the parts in one go, 7,500. That's the fees, Imran. Oh, Aman had a question. Sorry. What if the direct labor are full-time employees? Then would they? No, Aman. So here, direct labor, they are producing the products. Okay, so the direct labor, just to answer your question, the direct labor are producing the products. They will be part of direct labor only. The overheads includes things like supervisor salary, indirect materials, indirect labor were not directly involved in producing the products. So direct means they are producing the products. They will always be part of direct labor. So yes, on 7,500 you will get a 5% discount because you've joined the webinar, Imran. Absolutely. That's on our fees. Yes. So Lakshya, the window that we are after right now, so the batches we are starting on 29th October and 30th October. And the examination that you are going to give will be on, around about Feb end. Okay, so once you clear the first part, then you can complete the second part in, May, June window. So end of June. So by end of June, you can complete both the parts. So it's one of the shortest qualifications. So this is the highlight about CMA. So no other qualification can be done as fast as a CMA. Laksh. So it's just 6 months. To sit exams, do we need to have any entry qualifications? You just need to pass your high school. But to get the certification, you need actually, you need to have your graduation done. To get the certificate, you can pass the exams, but and later on complete your graduation, you will still get your certificate, but after you complete your graduation. Okay, but you can pass your exams after you're done with high school. For what do we have to pay? $360. This one. So Vakil, over here, the idea over here is for doing one part. For one part, you will pay this, and this. Okay, this 1,322 is the. Hey, wait. Sorry, this is actually. I'm sorry. I'm just need to clarify. This is both exam. So first 992 and 1,322 you will pay when you give your exam in Feb. And then when you give your exam in June, you will pay this fee. So this is overall fees, by the way, everyone. Sorry, this is not 6,400. This is overall fees out of 5,363. So again, that's what 40% discount. So this is not required. Yeah, agreed, Vakil. Thank you for pointing that error out. Thank you. But overall is 3,636 for both the parts to the IMA. So yes, Wahab, your question, that's right. It is considered as direct cost. See, again, we can track the cost on daily basis, monthly basis, weekly basis. So that's more of it will be covered in budgeting when you come to us. So I will teach you there that how does budgeting work. We will build quarterly budgets with you. So at that time, you will have more clarity on what are manufacturing overheads, what are direct labors. Direct labors, think of it, people. So think of a table manufacturer, people who are making the table will be direct labor, and I can track it on a weekly basis, monthly basis. And people who are supervising, think of them as overheads. So that's what it is. So Vakil has a question. Can we pay in installments? So Moni, do you want to answer that?
Yes, thank you for the question, Wakil. Yes, we do accept installment option where you can split into 2 equal installments, but then this attracts a 200 dirhams installment charges and then post-dated check for the balance. Yes, I hope I've answered the question with installments, but it's okay. You may reach me directly, as I said, on my mobile or via my email, and then I'll give more details on the installment plan and everything else that we can support you with. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. Guys, any other questions? Let me know, please. Fantastic. A lot of interesting questions, a lot of interesting chat. Thank you so much for being very, very interactive. We are still here. We're still happy to answer your questions. But if you're planning to leave, I'd like to thank you very much for joining in. It's lovely to have you all, and hope to see you in the session soon. My pleasure, Vakil. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you, Fairuz. Hope you had a nice time, and hope to see you soon in the sessions. I have a question. Relevance of CMA in the real world. See, management accountant, Fatima, is somebody that every company requires. Every company. You pick up any company in the world, you need a management accountant that will help the management make some key decisions. You will either work as a financial controller, financial planning and analysis. It's a hot career now. Every company requires that. So it has a huge relevance. So CMA will definitely help you become that. It's a passport to become, it's actually a global passport to become the financial controller or a financial planning and analyst in any company for that matter. Hope I answered your question. Fabulous, fabulous. Loved the questions, loved the interest. Thank you so much, Fatima. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll remember all of you, and I'm waiting for you guys. All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Okay, thank you.